What's going on? I'm Matt from Gains and Growth, and the reality is, emotionally, we all feel down in the dumps from time to time. And regardless of the reason, feeling sad, it sucks. And we have to realize at some point in our life, we're going to feel sadness. But it's okay. What you got to realize is sadness, it's part of the human emotion. Most of the time, it's pretty temporary. But sometimes that sadness, that feeling of gloom, it persists. And this emotional woe affects the quality of your life. And this could make you feel hopeless, it could make you feel angry, it definitely makes you feel alone. Today, we're talking about depression, the different types, and hopefully how you can treat them. The word depression, it's one word, but there are varying types and degrees of depression. But regardless, a lot of times it robs us of our joy, our happiness, and our feeling of self-worth. Now, nobody knows what actually causes depression. There are several different factors that could go into play. But with all the studies coming in, oftentimes what it shows is depression is a chemical change within the brain. So it's not like everybody that's depressed is because they got their dog hit by a car, which makes a person sad and makes you feel kind of depressed. And eventually you're going to get over it. It doesn't develop into full-blown depression. A lot of times, more often than not, genetics are actually what play a huge role. And depression can date way back through generations. And you got to think back in the day, they didn't really have the treatments or medication to help fight against the depression. Through the course of time though, things have developed, and now there's several different avenues that you can take that can help you in your battle. All right, so genetics. You could have, everything could be roses in your life, but genetically you could be predisposed to be depressed. There's something off just a little bit chemically in your brain that needs to maybe just be slightly adjusted or tweaked to make you feel a lot better. And it doesn't have to be genetics. It could be a traumatic event that you experienced at some point in your life, or some people are just depressed because they're depressed. Now, depression can happen at any age for any reason, something we got to realize. We all experience depression differently. The one thing that is consistent is depression, it robs us of our joy, our happiness, and our self-worth. And this is where we need to change. Some situations are temporary. Something bad might happen, you feel bad for a while, but then you start to get over it and start to feel better again. Others are more chronic and it's going to happen on a more regular basis. Regardless, whenever depression happens, you need to get it treated properly. Now hear me when I say this. Depression, it's a form of illness. And this is something that affects your mind and it affects your body. And this goes the same whether you got asthma or a heart problem or maybe a bum knee. You get it treated, depression is just the same. Now the problem with depression is there's no magical one answer that's going to fix every case. You got to remember that everybody's different and everybody's going to respond differently. And a lot of times you get into a trial by error situation. You just got to try different things. You got to work with your doctor. You got to work with your therapist. And eventually, you're going to figure it out and you're going to feel great. All right, so the first type of depression is situational depression. And this is when something in life changes. Maybe you had a bad breakup. Maybe you lose your job. And this is when some situation impacts your life and affects your mood. Now, these types of depressions are generally a little shorter lived in nature. As time passes, which is the most effective treatment, you start to feel better. Now, talk therapy, that's also a very effective manner. You can talk to a friend, you can talk to a family member, maybe you're talking to a therapist. These are all very effective tools to help you deal with situational depression. And look, I realize that sometimes talking isn't enough to fix the situation necessarily, and you just need that little extra hand to help push you through what it is that you're struggling with. And sometimes you might be prescribed an antidepressant, even though it might be a situational depression. The deal is it's going to help you get over it faster, you're going to recover, and you're going to feel great. Sometimes regardless of how mild that depression might be, you've got to go seek treatment so you can get through it faster. And you got to realize that even mild situational depression, if left untreated, could turn into something bigger down the road. Some people deal with a more persistent and a more dramatic form of depression. And a lot of times this is going to interfere with people's ability to live. You have trouble keeping a job, you have trouble getting out of bed, you don't even want to watch my videos. And that's just a bad attempt at me trying to lighten the mood. Now, chronic depression, that's a little bit different. Maybe the person is able to keep the job. Maybe they're raising a family. Maybe they're even hanging out with you on the weekend. But the deal is, they always seem to be a little bit unhappy. No matter how many times you tell them, like, hey, just feel better. Hey, do you want to go shopping? Hey, do you want to go bowling? Hey, do you want to hang out? It doesn't help. People that have the chemical imbalance need medication to help straighten out the brain. I would also recommend that if you are on some kind of antidepressant, that you're also seeking some kind of talk therapy. It's a more well-rounded approach. As opposed to just treating the chemical, you have other things that you need to talk about. And it's very important to get support. I would recommend a support group, maybe one-on-one therapy. You're talking to people that get it. You want to talk to people that understand your struggles and what you're going through. I personally, when I've hit depressive points in my life, found it very, very helpful to be able to sit down and talk to someone. It doesn't even have to be a therapist, but you start getting out your emotions, start getting out what you have bottled up inside, and it starts to lighten your shoulders tremendously. Now, for those people that seek therapists, that's also a good thing, because you can talk about anything and everything, and you don't have to worry about who you're sitting next to at Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Now, these people are going to give it to you straightforward. They're not going to blow smoke up your ass. There's no shame in seeking therapy to help you battle with your depression. You got to understand that there's probably people around you that have done the same thing. Now, one thing that happens often is people go undiagnosed for depression. They self-diagnose themselves and they try to treat it on their own with maybe drugs, maybe alcohol. What it does is it numbs the emotional pain for a temporary time. But what you have to realize is that after all that wears off, it makes your depression worse. Not to mention, it's very dangerous. And you may be that person that's drinking too much or doing the drugs. What you need to do is get to that underlying bottom issue. There's definitely better options out there that are going to help you get on that permanent high. Look, we know depression sucks. Life is tough. A lot of people will use social media and they'll look at that and think everybody's life is perfect, but that's complete BS. And it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be bummed out from time to time. But when these times seem excessive, it may be time to get some help. The main thing to remember is depression, it does suck, but there are different options and different ways that you can help treat this. The help is out there. Family, friends, doctors. You just got to take that first step and admit that you need the help. You're way too important, you're way too special, and you have things to accomplish. And nobody wants anybody to feel like crap. Now, I hope that all made sense. If so, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I drop 2 new videos every Monday and every Thursday, plus numerous shorts all throughout the week that you do not want to miss. Now, I know I'm going to see you in the next video, but until then, remember this. Keep getting the gains to make the growth and level up your life. You got this, bro.